I see. Okay. All right. What is you want to know? You want to know when I got wounded? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'd like it if you could tell me about the day you got wounded, and maybe also about the day that you landed in southern France. But the most interesting for me is the day you got wounded.
Okay. All right. I got wounded in 1944. I don't remember the month. It was early spring, I think. Me and my friend Cheshire. You spoke to Cheshire, haven't you?
Yeah, I spoke to him last night, and he told me I should call you as well because you were there at the same time as him. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I was with his platoon in G Company, 141st Infantry. Yeah. And we come in. We invaded southern France, and come on up, and I think it was a few days after we invaded, something like 5 or 6 days.
Okay.
We had pushed the Germans back pretty good, and we must have been 10 to 15 miles inland, and maybe a little further than that. And me and James and his platoon was on the side of this mountain, and the mountain had overgrowth on it, and I was laying in the edge of the overgrowth watching the Germans down below in a French house.
Okay.
French civilians, yeah. And with a pair of field glasses. And I'd go back to where James was every once in a while and talk to him. So anyway, I quit doing that and come back, and I was making, we had one of them little stoves you pump up during combat. You make a little coffee or hot chocolate or something like that if you want. So we did that. And when I was pumping that stove up to light it, and little bitty stove, called it stove, really long stove, but it heats up real fast, and you had to pump it up and get air in it. And so it had a pump on the side of it. And I was pumping that up, and all at once we got a heavy barrage of machine gun fire, rifle fire, and heavy artillery. And so I didn't realize I felt something hot on my leg, up on my right thigh, and I didn't realize. I knew I was hit, but I didn't realize it was that bad. I got up, I was pretty bloody, and bloody was gushing out of my right thigh, and so I had a foxhole maybe 10 paces away. So I got my foxhole, and a little Spanish boy come and pull my belt off and made a tourniquet out of it and stopped it bleeding. And by that time, someone had called a leader jeep to come up on the side of the mountain, and he carried me from there down to that leather jeep. And the road was all bummed out then from airplane bombing and heavy artillery. So it wasn't a very good ride. Anyway, there was I believe there was 5 that got killed in this incident. Something like.
You said 5 got killed?
Pardon?
You said you think that 5 got killed? Is that what you said?
Yeah, right, 5. Yeah.
Okay.
5, and I believe it was 7. Come to think of it, I think it was 7 got killed in this incident. And me and the lieutenant was in the. They taken us right back to the aid station, and the lieutenant's his intestines was up on his chest. he got hit by a large piece of shrapnel in his stomach. And so they sent us along back to a hospital. He died that night. And they operated on me there. It took about a good 12 hours to get back to that little hospital. The hospital was no more than, well, what it was about a 15 by 20 tent with a dirt floor with 2 medical chests up and a litter on top of them, and that's what they operated on me.
Okay.
Yeah. And so anyway, I come to the next morning about 4 o'clock from the operation, and they took a whole bunch of shrapnel and 1 bullet out of me, and they told me that they had made arrangements for a boat to meet just at sunup down on the beach, which we was right at the beach, and they was going to pick me up and put me on a hospital ship and take me back to Italy where they had better facilities. And they did that. The next morning they had me down at daylight, and the landing craft come in and picked me up, took me back to the hospital ship. Well, that's only about a 2-day, 3-day run from southern France into Naples, Italy. And I got back there, I was having chills and fever, and my leg had swollen up about twice as big as it should be, my thigh rather, and they found out I had gangrene in it from infection under that operation condition. So they was going to take my leg off, but I could still feel something in my leg, and I told them that, and they said, well, they'd x-ray it. So they did, and they come back and said, well, yeah, you're right, there is something in that. And he said, there's more than 1 piece, too. He says, we're going to start operating on you right now. So they gave me a sedative and wheeled me into the operating room. And then when I got through, I woke up, I guess, so a few hours later. They had another bunch of shrapnel that they got out of me, and they said they thought they got it all, but it didn't. I still have 3 pieces in there, I found out. But anyway, that's what happened on that incident there.
Okay. So I guess you were pretty close to the explosion to have so many pieces of shrapnel in you, then, eh?
Oh yeah, it was coming down heavy. Yeah, it almost got that whole platoon. And it was either 5 or 7 that got killed. Maybe it was 5. I'm not sure how many, but I knew it was a large number of them got killed. And several of them wounded. I think me and the lieutenant were probably the worst 2 wounded. And he died. And I made it on through and got back, and my leg healed up pretty good in about a month, I guess. And I went back to my old outfit, G Company, 2nd Battalion, 141st Infantry, and 36th Infantry Division.
Okay.
And that's about the end of that story.
And the lieutenant was Lieutenant Apperman, is that correct?
Pardon?
The lieutenant, was this Lieutenant Apperman?
I don't remember the lieutenant's last name. He was our platoon officer. He was a 2nd lieutenant.
Okay.
He'd just been with us he'd just been with us only just a few days. Well, he was assigned to us just before we made the invasion, and that was on the 4th or 5th day into the invasion. So he was very new there, and a hell of a nice young fellow, and he was a 2nd lieutenant, and yeah, he died.
And maybe you'll remember this. This lieutenant, as far as I know, he was a German guy, a German Jew, who had gone to the States before the war. Does that remind you of anything?
A German general?
No. He was Jewish. He was Jewish from Germany. So before the war, he went to the States because he was Jewish,
Yeah.
Does that remind you? Is this the right guy? Maybe.
Was that in Italy or France?
No, this lieutenant who died.
Oh. Mm.
But I guess you didn't know him too well if he was only there a few days.
That very well could have been him. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember, but that name strikes a point. Yeah.
So you were with him in the Jeep ride all the way back to the hospital?
Yeah, me and him stayed in the same ambulance, letter Jeep. No, a field ambulance, what they call a field ambulance, to the hospital, and that took about, the best I remember, about 10 hours. And before we got any real medical attention that we needed. And his intestines, all of it was left. I don't see how he lived that long. But he was, him and I talked several times in that ambulance going down, and I was amazing to me that he could even talk, but he did. And he was a brave young lieutenant, I got to tell you that, because not once did he act like he was frightened or scared or anything. And so that's about the end of that story. I really didn't know him that well, just from being with us 4 or 5 days is all it was.
Okay. And so he was still speaking to you all the way there? He was still conscious and everything?
Yeah, right. He was, yeah. Yeah, he died that night. It was due to lack of attention, really. Because back when we got back, it was supposed to be in a hospital, but the hospital hadn't had time to come in and set up there. All it was just a make-do shift thing. And that's how I got it gangrene in my leg. And because there wasn't anything got sterilized. It couldn't have been. And when you start operating on somebody, you know you're supposed to be in a sterile situation.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But anyway, that was an emergency, and it had to be done. So they did the best they could.
Okay, and about this bombing, what I heard is that it was actually an American shell that was fired short, you know, that landed on you guys.
I've heard that. I've heard that too. I've heard that too. I don't know where Americans. It could be one of our bigger guns that was back that didn't have the range correctly. It fired up and fell short. That's very possible. That happens. That happened during the war.
But at the time when you were wounded, you didn't particularly realize, like, this one is coming from the German side or this one is coming from the American side?
I don't know. That I really don't know which way it was coming.
Okay.
I didn't know anything like that was coming until they were there.
Okay.
And so that's James told me he thought that may have been the biggest one that come in may have been one of our artillery shells. I think somebody told him they thought it was. No, I never did know for sure. I always assumed it was a German shell.
Okay.
But I really don't know.
I actually have the report that was written on that day. You know, I got it from the archives, and it says that report says it was American fire. But you know, the report can also be wrong. It's hard to know. Yeah,
you're right. The report says it was American fire.
Yeah, they say it was a friendly fire, American fire. You know.
I never knew there was a report made on it. Okay, so that's what they say. May have been. I just don't know.
And you said you were also hit by a bullet.
That's what they called it. But I looked at it very closely. It could have been a detonator out of an artillery shell too. It kind of looked like that, and it looked like it was kind of out of shape. But that's what the hospital called it, a bullet.
Okay.
And so it could have been a detonator. It was a detonator or a bullet one, and I'm not real positive. I was going with what the hospital told me.
Okay.
And
And I know the name of another guy who was killed on that day. His name was Sergeant Gabrus. Does that remind you of anything? Do you remember this guy, Sergeant Gabrus?
Yeah, I think I remember him. Was he in G Company?
He was in G Company, and he was killed on that day at the same time as the lieutenant. Like,
he was killed on that day.
Yeah.
Okay. Sergeant Gibbons.
Not Gibbons, Gabrus. Gabrus. Joseph Gabrus was his name.
Right. Yeah. I remember him. Yeah. I remember him. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Heck of a nice fellow. Yeah. And gosh, that's been a long time ago. But yeah, I remember him.
And the other thing I'm interested in about this southern France is, could you maybe tell me about the day of the landing? You know, the morning when you guys went in on the boats? If there's anything interesting to say about that?
Well, let's see. I was really nothing more than I was just in terrible shape. Because I started getting those chills and fever, I believe, that late that day. And that hospital ship was just transporting me back to Naples, Italy. They wasn't.
No. But what I meant is the morning of the invasion, the day that you before you got wounded, the day that you guys invaded southern France. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember the day we made the invasion. Sure.
Can you describe what that was like to me?
Well, it was, the resistance wasn't that heavy. The resistance was, I'd say, unexpected. Well, they was on the beach. Now, inland, no more than a quarter of a mile, we started hitting pretty heavy resistance. And I was walking through, the Germans kind of on the line, and we was trying to keep up with them. And I was walking through this place right by myself, open place, and a German soldier hollered at me and in German, and I couldn't understand him. But one of the people in our company, in our platoon, understood him. And he hollered and told me, said, Johnson, he's telling you you're in a minefield.
Okay.
So I got warned by the enemy not to keep going in that minefield. So I turned around and went back.
Okay.
And took another route. So that's it. That's the biggest thing. But I think we had, if I remember correctly, I think we had 2 or 3 enemy machine guns trained in our direction. We hit that. And there was a few artillery shells come over, but no heavy resistance now.
And
it was a light invasion. It wasn't nothing like Salerno, Italy. That's where we made the biggest invasion. Was in Salerno, Italy.
And
as in southern Italy.
Between the day of the landing in France and the day when you got wounded, did anything happen? Anything interesting? Were you in any heavy combat or anything like that?
Well, let's see. I think during that time I got a brown star from combat in Italy, though. That was I got the combat star, brown star from Italy.
Okay.
But during that time, in that time period in that somewhere, I remember getting some through message center telling me that I'd been awarded the brown star. But it was from Amsterdam in Italy. And
you were a combat medic, right? That's what Cheshire told me.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, I was the head ranking medic in the company, and me and James Cheshire was good friends, so I stayed with G Company, and we had medics out with other platoons, one piece platoon.
Okay.
So, 4 of us, eh?
And were you involved in helping any wounded guys during those few days in France before you got wounded yourself? Not particularly.
Not nothing major. Maybe may have been a few minors scrapes or something like that, but nothing major. During that time that I got wounded and coming on the beach. Like I say, that was very, very. We were lucky. It was light.
Okay. And just to come back to the day you were wounded, so you were cooking on this stove, and all of a sudden the heavy artillery started coming in.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you had something warm on your thigh, and you were hit, basically.
Right, in the thigh. Yeah, something like you stick a lit cigarette to your naked skin. That's what it felt like.
Okay.
Then when I got up, I think I was bloody all over, so I knew I was hurt.
Okay, and you said that Lieutenant Apperman, he was very brave during the time driving back. He never complained. He never said anything.
No, never showed no emotions whatsoever. No fright. Anything that you would expect somebody in that condition. He's in a lot worse condition than I was. You would. I was surprised that he could even have the ability to talk, tell you the truth, but he did. He talked. I don't remember what it was about. I wished I did. It was mostly something about the company, though. I would think, and about what surprise attacks we had on us there, because I was unaware that it was Americans. James told me he had heard that, and I don't know where he got it, but I remember him telling me that. And it very well could have been, because that happens more than you think on the front line.
And just before being wounded, you could see Germans out in front of you, a few hundred yards away or something, in this French house. You said.
Will you say that again, please?
You said just before being wounded, you were observing the Germans with binoculars.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. I was watching, and I was telling James what the Germans would do. They would put on. It looked like a night robe over their uniform, and go out to a well and get water. And I was watching them do that. And there's a real high-powered field rifle that I had, and I'd tell James about it, and I'd come back and watch him a little bit more. And he said, "Yeah, they're down at that farmhouse way down there. Yeah, that's where they're at." So I assumed it was one of theirs. That's what I always thought. If they spotted me with those field glasses up there, because I'm sure some of them had field glasses watching too. And that's what I always thought. Now I have no way of knowing that for sure, but that's what I thought.
Okay. And you said it looked like the Germans were putting on a nightgown. Is that what you said? A nightgown?
What now?
You said the Germans were getting water in a well, and that they were puting on a nightgown. Is that what you said?
Oh yeah. They were going out and getting water out of a well, and they had on something like a woman's night robe. It was real flowery and loud. I was surprised they'd use that, but I think the reason they did, they used the psychology that we would think it was civilian town. Is what I think the reason they had that on. And there wouldn't be nothing coming in on them. And this is just what I figured out for myself. I had no proof of that either.
Okay. And how far were these Germans? Were they like 500 yards away or something like that, or 1,000 yards away?
Oh, they was quite a ways away. It was a good about a quarter of a mile, I'd say.
Okay.
At least, yeah. Yeah, it was quite a distance away.
Well, that's all the questions that I wanted to ask you. Like, I just wanted to know about this day you got wounded, because I heard that the Americans had fired by accident on their own guys, and I was trying to find somebody who was there, who really remembered it well. So, thanks for telling me about that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.